We've been at sea in the Mediterranean with Italian and Spanish naval forces for about 5-6 days now. This is part of the EU naval operation against people smugglers operating out of Libya. We started when we were first transferred to the Italian aircraft carrier Cavour. It is the command ship for this entire operation. It is big, it's pretty new, and it's really very impressive. From there, we came here to the Numancia, a Spanish frigate, and in pretty big seas, we've been carving through the south of the Med. These conditions here have been too big, the swell too rough, the winds too strong for people smuggling boats to put to sea. So in the meantime, the crew of these vessels, they need to train, and so we witnessed the Marines aboard the Numancia conduct a boarding exercise. The Marines are the ones responsible for making the initial approach to the migrant vessels, giving a security assessment, making sure that there is no threat. During our time at sea, we spent a lot of time clambering in and out of helicopters. Aboard the helicopter here on the Numancia, we were able to get very, very close to the Libyan border. Through the haze, you can see the Libyan coastline in the distance. We're 12 nautical miles away at the very edge of Libyan territorial waters. This is as close as these forces can get to where the people smuggling operations are based. So living aboard a frigate built in the 1980s, the late 1980s, it takes some getting used to, but it's also really good fun, at least for a few days in the way that we're doing it. But you get a real sense of just what a challenging environment this would be to live in the long term. So it is, of course, incredibly narrow, the confined space. We got lost a few times. Actually, no, we're on the wrong deck. The hallways, narrow, passing people all the time. Buenos dias. Hola.
Buenos dias.
We were warned that the single most dangerous thing aboard the ship are these narrow, steep ladders and stairs that separate the decks. And this is where they control the ship. And it's a pretty extraordinary view. To give a sense of where this ship has been operating, where we are, what we're waiting for. This is a map of this southern area of the Mediterranean. I'm not allowed to show you the area that shows the coast of Libya, but the people who run this operation, they talk about the Lampedusa Triangle. So if you imagine the coast of Libya down here, there is Tripoli on the eastern side of the map, to the left, heading towards the border with Tunisia. It is from here, they say, this stretch of coast, the boats leave and head out north. That's the triangular shape, heading towards the Italian island of Lampedusa, more towards the center of the Med. So for days, this ship has been plowing through seas much bigger than what you see here now. This is pretty flat. The winds are pretty gentle by comparison. They've come down a long way, and so this, the crew believes, makes it more likely that you're going to see some sort of migrant boat movement. But where we've been positioned for a couple of days now, we've been holding a pattern to the northwest of Tripoli, probably just to the northwestern side of the Libyan coast in international waters, waiting here in a position the crew believes is beyond the detection of the people smuggling crews and operators back on the Libyan coast itself.
You will arrive at 13 nautical miles.
This is one of the Marines stationed aboard, a 50 caliber weapon trained on the side. He is looking out and ready for the possibility of some sort of attack from a smaller vessel, what the commanding officer describes as an asymmetric or terrorist attack.